Hey, Lance.
Yes.
So you're going to be using the different things? You're going to switch back and forth, or what are your plans?
That's the plan, is I'm going to kind of cover each room in the document. I don't know if I'll make it to the Zoom room because that's like kind of down the hallway. So unless you've got other things to share, maybe that's when I can transition over there. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about with the Zoom room. Really, it's the plug and play that I can spend most of my time on.
No, I've got a Wakelet, and then also Matt might jump in downstairs in our Lightboard studio.
Okay.
So we'll give it another minute or so here, let people join, and then we can. While we're waiting, just want to encourage everybody to go to the MtMoot2021 store. You all have MtMoot2021. There's raffles in there. There's buy things straight up, and then there's bid on things. The coin is worthless after about 12:15, so use it while you can. There's a couple $100 of prizes and things in there. So. Okay, it's about 11:02 right now. I think we'll go ahead and get started. So this is kind of a joint session between myself and also Lance, and then also Matt will be joining us hopefully too. So we're going to be talking about our world changed as did many of your guys' world. I spent my time trying to get teachers to use our LMS or Moodle, also to embrace, some of these technologies that they could do, and the results, some of them did it, and some of them I got the, oh yeah, that sounds good, but I've been doing this for 20 years, it's all good. And then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden we all had lines outside of our doors saying, those things you've been talking to me about for all these years, I need to do it, but I need to do it now. And so that kind of just threw our world upside down. And so I think I'm in the same position as Lance, as we had to rapidly purchase a lot of equipment and test things and figure out what works, what didn't work. And one of the problems there was the entire world was doing the exact same thing right when we were doing it. And so hardware was just flying. And I don't know what your take on that was, Lance.
Yeah, it was kind of in the same boat of, we had gotten just, plain webcams for faculty and students for stuff. And even those just simple Logitech, Microsoft webcams, just off the shelf, hard to get. And so a lot of this other software or hardware is in that same boat as well. But now that we've kind of died down a bit, I think some of these are a little bit more available.
Yeah, so this is great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm from Carroll, if you didn't know. So I did the AV stuff at Carroll. And Lance, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm LanceRoe. I work at Idaho State University. I'm the integrations instructional technologist. Kind of how I got kicked into this role a little bit is I'm also the Zoom admin here at Idaho State. And so we were really looking at the Zoom cloud recording, streaming to YouTube, really using Zoom as our platform for a lot of our DL or potentially distance learning type stuff. And also we did a lot of the HyFlex classrooms. And so really trying to look at how to make a HyFlex where you've got a live class where students can attend both in the classroom or over Zoom, looking at some hardware that could make that transition a little bit better.
And then last but not least, I want to introduce Matt Larson. And Matt is downstairs here in the library in our Lightboard studio. Matt, if you want to just say hi.
How's it going, everyone?
Obviously, Matt is live on air. Okay, so Lance, why don't you go ahead and take it away from here?
Okay, so I do have a couple of solutions to try out. Some are kind of like, simple plug and play. And another one was one that I really tried to take what did I have in the office to like piece together this on the cheap distance learning room, and trying to keep some of that same quality that are in some of our more high-tech rooms. So the first room that I'm kind of showing off is, this is our training lab, and we do have a conference table in here. I'm going to try and use my phone's camera and see if I can kind of share what this setup looks like. All right, and then switch. Oh. Okay, it looks like it's not going to let me be able to use my front camera. So what we've got here, and I'll take a step back and you'll see, is this is just a simple conference table we have. And the devices that you're seeing, these are called the Meeting Owls from Owl Labs. I'll kind of go and zoom in on one of them. What they are is a all-in-one microphone, speaker, camera. You can see at the top here is a camera, and that's what you're seeing that I'm connected in right now. When the Owl was first kind of introduced and we adopted it, it was actually really limited on features. So really from the get-go, you had this all-in-one camera. And I mean, the nice thing about it is it's plug and play. So there's no software you need to download to the computer itself. It will just be set up and you can use it in your Zoom meetings. The other thing too with this, looking at the solution, is trying to use the Zoom desktop client, but if you're using Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, any other type of web conferencing platform, you can use this camera with it. So that's the thing, it's just that one-time purchase that you're getting, and then you can plug it in and play. What I'm currently doing right now is when you have it connected to Wi-Fi, you can get current system updates. And so a couple of those things that I'm doing right now is I've paired both Owls together, so that way it can expand your mic's pickup and also your speaker. So now I'm getting sound out of both Meeting Owls. The other thing too is if I had more people in the room, the Meeting Owl will actually splice my video. And so if me and one other person were talking at the same time or together having a conversation, the Meeting Owl would zoom in on both of us. The other benefit, and I'll see if I can get it to do it, is if I come over here and really focus on this Meeting Owl right here, the Meeting Owl should pick up, and now you're kind of getting two views of me, but now you're focusing on me over here. So if I'm on this end of the table and then I move over and I had someone else over here, you kind of get that splicing effect, and that you can essentially have two people talking and zoomed in, and that's a pretty nice feature. The other feature that I'm using right now, I'll go ahead and stop my camera so you're not all dizzy, is that I'm using an enhanced presenter mode. And so this, it picks up and knows my body frame or my face recognition, doing a couple of those things, and the camera knows to follow me. So a little bit of moving around the room, and the camera does a pretty good job of keeping track. So I haven't really tested to see what happens when you have two or more people moving around, but it does a nice job that way. One of the disclaimers about the Meeting Owl, as you can see, is I can't really modify the lighting. So you can see that behind me, you've got a couple of lights, and I can't really modify my picture image to improve those. So while the camera does a lot of good things. Those are some of the things that's lacking, is the ability to actually configure the camera itself to modify the exact environment you're in. The other thing you can do, and I don't know if I've mentioned this, and I'll see if I can share my screen on this as well on my phone, because to access some of these features, to turn them on, you do need to download the Meeting Owl app on your phone, and it uses Bluetooth to pick those up. So if I go back to the Zoom meeting, I'll see if I can share screen. So I've got the Meeting Owl. And so now I'm getting that indicator that both Meeting Owl 1 and 2 are paired together. And you can also see in my picture of myself in the top corner, you see 2 owls and another icon to indicate that the enhanced presenter's on. And then from here, I can set my defaults by going to the one in control out of the 2 pairs. And this is where I can actually default. So I could set this up, and then someone else wouldn't need to follow me and need to make the same changes. I can set the configuration for whoever uses this device. And so I can vertically flip the owl camera. So I could mount this and have it on the ceiling. I don't recommend it because I don't think the camera is that great a view. Let me go ahead and show you the pano view. So by default, and I'll see if it will, oh, maybe I don't do that here. I'll show you what that 360 pano means as well. And then I of course have presenter enhanced on by default. If I go to camera controls, I can turn on that 360 pano. So now at the very top of my screen, you've got a whole view of the room. I find it distracting personally, so I always turn that off, but it's another way for you to see. So if it's zoomed in on me, you can still see if other people are in the room as well. And then we've got, so the other thing too, now I don't recommend using it with a whiteboard, because if you're trying to use the whiteboard and a physical whiteboard, the camera doesn't always pick it up, but you can, in some cases, use the owl to lock and zoom in. So I'm going to do that right now. So I can have it locked into a specific position. So if I had, it kept moving and I really needed to focus on one person, using the app, I can have it focus. I can do a little bit of tilting, but then I'm just going to reset it to autofocus. And those are really all of the features in the Meeting Owl. Like I said, it's a very simple solution. I do like the fact that it's plug and play, but it's great for turning any small to mid-sized conference room into a DL room and just using the Zoom client to make those connections happen.
Lance, I have a question for you real quick. Have you noticed a significant improvement when you pair the 2 owls together as opposed to just using one of the owls for audio?
Correct. Yeah. For bigger rooms, you're definitely going to feel a big difference, because we did have it in the classrooms. We only had one Meeting Owl. And so if you sat in the far back, you just weren't going to get that good quality. But by pairing, that way I can be closer to that one in the back of the room, and I can still be heard. The cool thing is with these is there's just power. So the primary owl needs to be connected to power, and it needs to be connected to the laptop device. The second one just needs to be connected to power. So you get it close to an outlet, and you can place that wherever you need it to be for it to pick up audio.
Awesome. Are you going to transition or?
Any other questions about the owl? And if not, then I will take a break and get the other things set up, and I can switch over the time to you, Dan.
This is just a very a very random question, but have you seen any like bands using the owl for like live streams and stuff?
I haven't. Again, it's not the best. What I'm going to recommend as for the owl use is going to be close proximities. Doing any sort of bigger classroom or arena style, it's just going to not be the best quality in my opinion. They say that it's a 1080p camera, but I don't see that.
We have some clients that want to move from doing webinar-based live classrooms to moving to podcasts. Do you think, how do you think the OWL would work doing podcasts?
Yeah, you should be able to just, whatever your podcasting program is, make the OWL mic and speak. And if it has, I mean, podcasts typically don't have video, but yeah.
These are going to be video.
So it's a vodcast. Yeah.
Podcast, yes, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the OWL is perfect for that huddle room, because again, as someone starts talking, it's all the AI working, right? So it's going to focus in on them talking. So I think it'd be a great solution for those huddle campfire type meetings.
Okay, thank you.
And let me take you on that note. Let me take you actually down to Matt, and I'll have Matt kind of talk to you about, because his setup is kind of ideal for that. For podcasting and vodcasting and whatever else you want to do. So Matt, do you want to talk about where you're at there?
Sure. I'm downstairs in the Carroll Library Learning Center. And what we've tried to do down here is create some spaces to, I guess, tackle any kind of creative or streaming or recording concepts and projects that we might want to do. And kind of what we've tried to do with this space that I'm in right now, we've tried to make it all encompassing. Whether that's you want to do a podcast, you want to do a webinar, you want to do a Zoom call, you want to be live with your students in class. You're hearing me okay, right, Dan?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I just got this all set up, so I haven't had a chance to test it out. But we wanted to create spaces where not just teachers, not just students, but basically anyone who needs to come in and be creative and have every tool at their fingertips to be able to do so. We wanted to create like kind of a space like that. So whether it's podcasting, doing video recording, mixing music, editing video, just pretty much anything you could think of that you would do in a studio atmosphere. That's kind of what we've tried to create here. So this is one of the many cameras I have set up in the studio. As you can see, I got my fancy little sign here, but kind of gives you an idea of the feel for the room and everything. But I guess I'll just try to show you kind of what it looks like, then I can walk you through each thing and then answer any questions if that works. Oops. So I switched to my FaceTime camera. You might be able to see behind me a little bit more. What we have is we have a full green screen. We have fixed lighting setups. So we have front lighting and we have back lighting. We also have lighting for the green screen itself. And what you can see kind of right behind me is this glass board. Kind of just looks like a clear window or a clear whiteboard. And that's kind of exactly what it is. We call it a light board. And I'll demonstrate that in a second here. But what you're able to do is you're able to stand behind that, give a lesson, whether it's pre-recording or it's on Zoom, and you can basically write on the glass and it will show your students what you're writing, and the cameras are set to flip that writing so that it shows the correct way for your viewers. It's a really great way to kind of be interactive, give it some visual appeal. And what you can also utilize with the green screen is I can put my PowerPoint up behind me on the green screen, and I can interact with my PowerPoint. I can circle things. I can have a blank PowerPoint to make lists with the students. Whatever your imagination can come up with, we've tried to be able to give you the tools to do that and try to make it very accessible and I guess dummy proof as much as possible. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if I had a question. All right, am I missing anything so far, Dan?
No, I think that's great. So yeah. Let's see what is Lance back on? Lance, you ready to go?
Yeah, I got the laptop switched over, so I am back to go. All right, so this is the Frankenstein monster that I've created of streaming, of distance learning. So we're currently still in the back lab. So we've got, some chairs set up and everything's like that. If you can see from, I'll hold this just to make sure. So right here, we've got the Panacast, Jabra Panacast camera. The really cool thing about this camera is it's 3 separate lenses, and then it's got a processor that syncs all of those views together to make one complete 180 view. And that's what you're seeing currently on the screen. And then currently, this is just one of the cameras that's already that was already used in the classroom. I think it's a Vadio. I forget exactly what the model is, but I just have it using a USB and going into this Dell docking station that I have for the laptop. Try and pull that so you can see it. So yeah, I basically have everything in the dock. So the cameras, currently what I'm using for audio, these are the Jabra Speak 710s. The thing that I like about them is you can have them wired so they can plug directly into the computer, but you can also do Bluetooth, and they have, excuse me, they have a dongle that you can use as well. So you can plug that in instead and do Bluetooth wireless without needing to use your Bluetooth. The other thing about the Jabra Speak set is that this one allows you to pair 2 speaks together. So I can be over here and this mic is now picking me up. And of course, if anyone else was speaking over the call, I'd be able to hear you as well. So we're kind of doing that same thing with the Meeting Owl by pairing 2 devices together to expand that microphone so it reaches more coverage in the classroom. Currently what I'm using right now is you can see that because with Zoom, you only get one camera feed to choose from. But in this case, you're seeing 2 feeds. What I'm doing behind the scenes is using OBS software. This allows me to pick multiple sources, and then using OBS's virtual camera, I can make that the source for Zoom. So that's how you're getting both of what's going on in here. Let me also add too, it might be a little hard to see on the computer, but I've just got a smartphone here that I've turned into a touch portal. There is a software called Touch Portal that a lot of streamers use to make it a micro switchboard. So I've got it integrated with OBS, so I can switch my views just from a click of here rather than having to open up OBS on my computer. So I'm going to switch it to the classroom instructor view that I have. And so now my views changed where I'm utilizing the Jabra Panacast to cover 180 on top. I still have a view of the students, but then I've also got a focus of using Jabra's Panacast Vision app. And this makes it so I can use the Panacast to tighten up on a board, and then I can really focus in. And you'll kind of notice when you look closer to the whiteboard, and I'll make that the main thing, is you'll notice that I'm kind of looking a little cartoony. In the app, you can make it so there's high contrast just with the push of a button. And then from the whiteboard view, you can still kind of see me talk lecture, but I can also write on the whiteboard and be able to do my instruction. So with the Jabra Panacast Vision app, so I currently have it linked into OBS as one of my sources, and that's what I'm presenting, but I could also choose to go to Zoom and do a share screen and just pick the Vision or the Jabra whiteboard as my source. And then that becomes the big thing that you're seeing instead. So I could change my camera to be, or my source to be something else.
So I've got the classroom view again, but now I'm just sharing the specific whiteboard app. And again, this works with the Jabra PanicCast. I can also set up 3 different presets. So I currently have it set up to my first preset of the board with the projector. Here's the other whiteboard. And I kind of wanted to show, you'll see that black is really the best one to use on a whiteboard. I tried different, even like a dark blue, and it just doesn't show up the best. But black is going to be the one to use. So using that app, I can quickly switch over to, to different whiteboards if needed. So there's my other whiteboard right here. All right, and so, and granted, this one's just a concept because I just used the resources I had and created this. Any questions about the specific mic, camera, any of the apps that I'm using at this point?
Let me, I'm going to take it over here real quick. Is that all right, Lance? Show a couple things. I just posted a wakelet up there with a bunch of links to different items. And talk about couple different cameras. This is the conference cam from Logitech. And I don't know if I'm displaying on the main thing. Am I on the main thing?
Yes.
Okay. Conference cam from Logitech. What's great thing about this one, it's about $450. It's got a really nice camera in it. The remote is built right inside here. It's got a pretty good wide view of angle, and it'll pick up a wide thing. It's also battery powered, so you can you don't have to plug it into a battery source, and so you can just do a USB to the laptop, and then you can set it anywhere and kind of go. We use quite a bit of these inside classrooms as well. One quick thing is there's some buttons on the top that are like push button touch sensitive, and they can kind of get messed up sometimes as people I don't know, touch the wrong thing. So that's one thing. I talk about a swivel. Anybody use a swivel out there? Swivel, if you use a swivel. Yeah, the names are all on the wakelet, I think, or most of them are there. A swivel, you can put your phone in it or an iPad, and then it kind of follows you around. You have these markers that you wear on your, it's like around your neck. And so the audio is actually captured at the source. So as a teacher moves around the room, the swivel turns and then is captured source, which I really liked in the past. These guys really started as a skateboard thing. They wanted to film themselves skateboarding around. But the problem is that this device is about $800, and all it does is basically swivel, and this captures the audio. So you still need the iPad, the iPhone, or whatever else to go in with it. But that's kind of cool. The other devices are, this is the old school Logitech camera here. This is like the 955W or something like that. It's, you know, about $250. It actually works really well in the classroom for picking up the teacher. And this thing can be extended as just a little ball. It can be extended up on the thing. And so it's kind of just a quick and dirty. I just need to plug it in and go. And the speaker on the microphone on here is pretty good. Actually has a speaker built into it as well. So that's one thing. If you want to go with a larger system, is the Logitech Meetup. So this guy we put in some of our larger classrooms. The advantage here on this guy, again, is a USB device, but he's a pan tilt zoom. So what's great about that is you have a remote, and this remote then can allow you to set presets on different places, and you can have a preset just for the whiteboard. So you just push a button and it'll automatically zoom right to the whiteboard. Push a button again, zooms back out to the full, you know, teacher, whatever it is. So this ability to move the camera, they call it PTZ, around, makes a big difference. It also has an external mic that you can then drag and put in the middle of the classroom, so it'll pick up all of the classroom noise as well. So this is about $1,000, but we use those for our bigger things. A couple of quick things you can see behind me is on the board there, I've got these things called beacons. And this is by a company called Rocketbook. And Rocketbook beacons you can stick on a whiteboard, and then you can hold up your phone or whatever, and it'll automatically determine the range of the picture based on these beacons that are just, you know, reattachable. You can take them off and on, but you could do the whole whiteboard there. And at the end of the class, you can just snap it, hold your phone up. That's all you need. You don't even need to take a picture. You just hold your phone up with the app, automatically takes it, crops it, OCRs it, and then can take it and put it right on Google Drive or wherever else you want to house that content. So it's a good way to have things like that. And these are about, I don't know, $10 or something. So that's kind of some things there. Any questions about these things? I was kind of going, we've been kind of moving away from swivels. There's brand new companies out there that are doing the same thing with like another camera that you can attach an iPad or a phone to that uses the camera then to base upon where it swivels. So inside of a room, the camera would detect the faculty member moving and it would go from there. And those devices are about $150, where these are about $900. And in fact, Swivel, I think, is kind of shifting its focus because they realize that this technology is kind of being co-opted by other things, including the brand new iPads. If you look at what Apple just released with the brand new iPads, they have a thing called Center Stage, where the camera on the iPad, which is a crazy camera on the iPad Pros, and actually on your phone as well, will capture a wide area and then just focus in on the person. And then as I move, even though the camera is not moving, it looks like it's following me because it captures a wide area and then goes to a shorter area. So something to think about. The ability for software to start doing all this stuff that hardware used to do is just being accelerated rapidly by the pandemic. So Matt, you got something to?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to see more of the studio and kind of what we got in it. All right, cool. Well, kind of building off, it's kind of the same concepts that Lance was talking about with being able to do kind of picture in picture and show multiple views, multiple cameras. That's kind of what we've tried to do, utilizing a Blackmagic ATEM hardware and software. We simplified it just by getting kind of a consumer grade ATEM mini, which I'll show you in a second, but it allows me to kind of quickly change views. So if I want to go to the green screen, I could do that. I have a camera connected that I'll use to walk around here in a second. And normally I have my computer screen that I can put up on the screen right there. But we're kind of bad. We just got the new Mac M1s and they only like to play nice with one extra monitor. So we're getting that fixed in a week or so here. But basically I can switch back and forth very quickly. I can do picture in picture if I need to very easily with this. I can switch where I want to be on the screen. Just like I said, bounce around between different camera angles. And I can also adjust how many pictures I want on the screen, how large the size is. And those will all be kind of set into presets. So the professors or the students don't necessarily have to know how to do all that. We've kind of simplified the process with various hardware and software that allows them to kind of be push button. I want it to look like that. And that's all they got to do. So again, I'll show you that in a second, but I'll just kind of give you a quick demonstration on what the light board does. I'll switch over to that. All right. So hopefully you guys can still hear me okay, but this is a really cool concept. Like I said, when you have the green screen behind you, you can put any kind of PowerPoint presentation, videos, any kind of graphics. You can use that to interact with your students, your class. Or you can have them just kind of focus on what you're writing on the board. I won't take too long to try and get this screen set up. But if you really want them to kind of have more of a clear view on what you're writing, you can give yourself a black backdrop. So as you see, I'm writing up here. I can write, it's flipped so you guys can see it the way I see it in the video, and it makes it really handy. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with this kind of light board setup. And hopefully you guys can still see and hear me. I turned the monitors off so they weren't reflecting in the light board. But we have these lights set up. Right now the backlights aren't on, but they're in a fixed position, so you never really have to worry about adjusting the lighting or anything like that. We have these can lights that kind of offer the lighting for the green screen. Then we found these really cool kind of sound dampening products. Dan, you'll have to remind me what they're called, but they're basically felt sound absorbing material that you can kind of use as a design factor too.
Yeah, from Felt Right.
Felt Right, that's right. They turned out really cool. It just kind of adds a really neat look to the studio while still doing its job of dampening sound. 1 second here. There we go. All right, this is kind of our setup. Turn the slide on real quick. So basically we have this setup here. I have the new iMac computer. Then we have a monitor right here to extend a desktop. And then this monitor right here kind of shows what's being output to the screen. So if I was doing a presentation, anything like that, I can look directly at this screen as I'm talking to my audience and kind of see what they're seeing. As you can see, I have a camera right up at the top here that's filming everything. And we used Canon mirrorless cameras. They work great. You can customize them with different settings and lenses to really get the look and feel that you want, but the image quality is awesome. And all these cameras, we have that camera, we have a camera here. You can see that, and that's a little dark here, hold on. There we go. So you have a camera set up there, camera set up here. I'm holding a camera in my hand, and then the fourth camera basically is either a laptop that can be plugged in externally or one of the screens on your your computer. And all that is controlled with this guy right here. This is an A10 Mini by Blackmagic, and that's just basically a switcher. Allows me to switch between input sources. I can also control like various things up top here, like picture in picture, and I can bring in still images. I can do overlays. I can switch to videos. You can basically get as creative as you want to, especially if you're utilizing this and the OBS software. It's kind of sky's the limit on what you're able to do. Let's see here. That's kind of like what the software looks like online. That's where you can kind of program it to do whatever you want. But see, this is kind of, I guess if I was a teacher or a student that never worked with this stuff before, it'd be kind of a daunting task to come in here and try to use all this stuff. Takes a lot of time and a lot of practice to get the hang of this kind of stuff, which is, time and that people don't usually have. So we've tried to simplify the process a little bit. So utilizing this thing here called a Stream Deck. I'm sure some of you guys have heard about it. Basically, this is what the teachers or the students will come in and use to get their project going. So I've kind of programmed it to kind of get them started. So to ask them what they want to do. Do they want to do some studio recording? Do they want to use the webcam? Video editing, graphic design, audio and music. They just kind of choose one of those. So for instance, I press video editing. Or I say I want to go to the studio. So what do I want to use? Do I want to do a recording? Do I want a Zoom call? Do I want to make a Loom presentation? Whatever it might be, all they have to do is really kind of push the button and take it where they want to go with it. And then it's all set up for them to go. They don't have to mess around with big user interfaces or settings or anything like that. It should all just be set up and ready to go.
Hey, Matt, this is Rick. Can I interrupt you for a moment?
You bet.
So what is it you're using right now as the camera source that's showing us all the equipment? Is that a handheld you're carrying around?
Yep, it's just a kind of handheld professional Canon camera.
And how is the video from that getting back to the A10 Mini?
Well, I just got this really long HDMI cord that's plugged into this guy.
Okay, so you've
Nothing
got,
fancy there. I just got
Got
this cord.
got it. Okay, so you've got a cable. And then the other question is, do you have a document cam that you guys recommend that you've used with the ATEM Mini? Many of the less expensive document cams have USB out versus HDMI.
I might be able to answer that one. iPivo has a really nice HDMI out document cam that's about $250 or something like that. Maybe less than that, maybe 200. That we've been pretty happy with.
Cool. And if you could post that on that, the Wakelet, that'd be great.
Yep,
Thanks.
I will put it right on there.
And thank you, Matt.
Oh, you bet.
And Matt, I think we're gonna jump over to Lance. Is that okay?
I suppose. Well, that's definitely fine, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Is the piano keyboard left behind from Dan Case and the Mutineers or what? We didn't throw-
I'm still trying to get him going on this one. It's a little high tech for his taste, but
Which software do you use? What does it connect to?
the keyboard,
Yes.
it can connect to pretty much any kind of desktop audio workstation. So that could be Ableton, could be GarageBand, it could be Audition. Basically any kind of audio software it connects to, and it's a MIDI controller, not necessarily a keyboard. So all these keys and pads on here can be mapped to control anything you want, whether it's notes, whether it's sound effects, whether it's beats, whatever it might be. And same with this guy down here, but that guy allows you to I can take that wherever I want and record, just sitting in a park somewhere and then bring it back to this computer, upload my work, and it's all recorded and put out there for me. So
That's excellent. Thanks.
yeah, so it's great for like podcasting and stuff and just being able to use your own sounds and music. So
Okay, I've added a bunch of stuff and then Lance is gonna take over here. Everything is being inside of the Wakelet. I just continue to add things to it. So, and Matt's got a whole document up there about all this stuff, and that's actually in the Wakelet as well. Go ahead, Matt. Or, I mean, not Matt, Lance, sorry, I'm looking at Matt. I got Lance. Go ahead, Lance.
I was trying to do the same thing with my camera on my phone, but it looks like it's not working for me. But anyways, so this is our conference room. I currently have it set up as a Zoom room. So what does that exactly mean? So currently for this meeting, we're on the Zoom desktop client, right? So Zoom Rooms is another application that you can use to connect to Zoom meetings. So that is going to be another license. Zoom Rooms, last I checked, are for the license itself, I believe it is $50 per month per room. So that can add up pretty quick on a standard plan. What we're currently using in this room as a demo is I've got the Poly Studio X50 or X80 as our all-in-one camera, mic, and speaker, and you can see that it is doing its job to zoom in on me as well. And then there's also the Poly TC8, I believe is what this touch panel is called, and this is where I can control all of my Zoom meeting information just like I were at a desktop. Zoom Rooms also gives me the ability to control it from my phone or a browser. So if I'm at my laptop instead and I have that, I can control the Zoom room from my laptop via the web. Some of the things about Zoom Rooms that I think they are a really simple solution, because it's going to be a lot easier if you have a lot of rooms that you need to maintain. From the zoom.us website as an admin, I can go in and make sure that all of the equipment's up to date with the latest firmware. The cool thing with Zoom Rooms is I can have it integrate with my Google Calendar, so I can actually have rooms automatically stop and start based on information in the calendar, so I could use that as my scheduling. You'll see that this one does kind of a good job of following me around. Let's see if it holds up to the test as the owl meeting owl. So there, I did notice that this one has a little bit more of a delay to it as it picks me up. You'll note that, with how this room is set up, it does an okay job with capturing
what's on the whiteboard. Again, the camera's focused on me rather than what's on the board itself. So if you're trying to do meetings collaboratively this way, you might have some potential issues. But again, I think our institution, when I've talked to kind of the people I've worked with, I mean, Zoom Rooms is a good solution, but I think we want to try and move to, because again, it's that subscription, right? We want to try and use what we already have, and that is trying to use more plug and play type technology. Dan, could you go ahead and in the course, I put a link to that document. And if you want to scroll to the bottom of the page, I've got a list of technology that we're still, or I'm still exploring. And this document has all of the information that I've done as far as, you know, my synopsis of the different types of rooms that I've displayed. And I've tried to put links to the various technology, especially the plug and play ones. Keep going. It's going to be definitely near the bottom. It should say new technology worth exploring. All right, so this first one here, so this is one that I'm really excited about, is the Logitech Rally Plus. Again, Logitech, it's going to be USB, so plug and play device, easy to connect it to your computer. Some of the things in it is you've got that one, the Rally camera, and I'll kind of go through these in order as they're listed. Then you have the display hub, table hub, and the mic pods, and then the speakers as well. And then if you go down, you can kind of see a picture of those, and then kind of full on display of what that looks like in a conference room. A little bit further. There you go. And so what I'm mostly excited about with the Logitech Rally is currently the technology that I've demoed today, as far as the mic and sound, is those limit you to only pairing 2 devices. With the Logitech Rally and their mic pods, you can connect daisy chain though up to 7 mics in a single room. So for bigger classrooms, what I'm really looking forward is to get 7 of those mics spread out in a classroom and really get my coverage as far as audio, making sure that everyone in the classroom can be heard. Logitech has some of their AI also that's built in. I believe it's Right Sense is what they call it. So it's going to have right sight, as far as white balance, things like that, making sure people are in view who need to be in view, and a couple other of those kind of proprietary things. But I'm really excited about this one because although like the Logitech, the Panacast, Jabra Speak, while I like those being wireless, if you want to kind of keep it sustainable, it needs to be connected to some sort of power source as well, because it does have a battery, but batteries run out, right? And classes are going constantly. So again, with the Logitech Rally, you're dealing with more connected technology that it should just be plug and play to your laptop, and you can use that system. This other one that's on the screen, so this is the Jabra Panacast 50 that was just announced this year. As you can see, it's going to utilize the same technology as the Panacast single camera, but it's included both a sound bar and a mic bar built in. And that's really what I'm hoping to put in this room as a way of, rather than using a codec, again, you're bringing your own device and utilizing that camera. And again, I'm assuming that I'll be able to use the whiteboard app and actually utilize these two whiteboards a little bit better for my own device. But yeah, those are some that I've got demos on the way that we've purchased. They just aren't here yet. So I definitely wanted to highlight that we are looking at those as well as a solution.
Yeah, and we're looking at some solutions as well. There's a Dante network stuff where I can get devices that go inside room where all the audio and everything goes over the network and then connects to a different source. So it's a hub and things like that. There's a company called STEM Audio, and that's in the Wakelet as well. They just got purchased by Shure Microphone Systems as I was in the process of negotiating with them. And so, but I think everybody is looking at simple solutions for this space right now, just due to the pandemic and due to the fact that this is not going to be going away. So I think we're all kind of, I know Lance and I are just kind of experimenting, like, okay, this works, but this is the downside. This is much money or whatever it is. So it's just an ongoing process for us.
And I'll just add to, as part of this presentation, this is something that I enjoy doing. It's a puzzle, right? So any additional questions you have for me specifically, feel free to email those to me. I'd be happy to try with best my expertise. Again, I'm also a Zoom admin, and we've been looking at how to connect some of these DL rooms and using the Zoom Pro LTI so that cloud recordings automatically go into those specific classes. We currently have another method that it works, but I want to try and simplify the process with that as well. So anything Zoom related or integrations with Moodle, I'm definitely all ears for those type of conversations.
Yeah, everything's in the Wakelet. I just posted up Lance's link to that Wakelet as well. So you should be able to go to that one location and get to all these different things we've been talking about. And I think that for myself and Lance and also for Matt, I mean, we're happy to share whatever we're doing, and that's the whole point of this thing. So, and plus, if you guys have anything that you found that's just in a sweet spot, let us know. No questions? Did we just crush it, Lance and Matt?
One thing I do want to add really quick, Dan, is Rick had a question about the document cam being able to plug into the A10 Mini.
Okay.
And what's great about that is you can use basically any camera that has an HDMI out. You can turn that into a document cam just by getting a tripod and positioning it above your desk. So like right here, I could be talking to my students and showing them like what keys I want to play if I knew how to play piano. But yeah, if I was doing a tutorial or I was drawing something right down here, all I have to do is use this camera and change how it's mounted. I can have it be a document cam for whatever I want. So if you're going to use it with the A10 Mini, anything with a HDMI out works.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you bet.
Awesome. Well, we only have one more. Actually, I think this is the last session. We have like a 15-minute bid on the Moot coin. Get all your swag. Wrap up coming up after this. You guys have been awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, reach out to myself or Lance or Matt, and we're always happy to help. And if you have something, again, share with us. We're looking for that too. So. Thanks, everybody. I guess we'll sign off. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Matt. Lance.
Yeah.